This fucking picture has been causing such controversy in the gaming world over the last few days. So, you have what looks like a bunch of radical right-wing Christians, is what they look like. There's a book in front of the guy, and I mean, it's very Last Supper, this image. There's the word sinner. The stars on the flag have been replaced with the weird cult symbol, because this group is like part of this weird religious cult. Oh, and let's not forget. Oh, I don't see anyone mentioning the motherfucking car bursting out the side of an exploding barn is about to run over a bear. You don't see many people pointing that out. The reason why this is causing supposedly a lot of controversy is because in Far Cry 1, you were some white guy fighting mutants on desert islands somewhere. And then Far Cry 2 onwards, they made it like a bit more realistic. They took the mutants out of it. And it just became like a manhunting simulator. You would just kill men. So the second game was set mostly in Africa. So you were a white guy in a fictional nation in Africa, basically shooting almost exclusively black people. Then Far Cry 3 came along, and you were, again, a white guy going to some tropical islands, like in the first game, and killing all the brown indigenous tribes people there. And then Far Cry 4, you weren't a white guy, but you were like half, well, I was going to say half Asian, half American. It's just Asian American, isn't it? You were off in this fictional country called Karat, and you were just killing all the Asians. But this game is going to have you killing white Americans, white American Christians, and apparently that's just too much. That's too far. So, yeah, obviously this is having a dig at not necessarily Christianity in general, but the hardcore extremists of Christianity, of which there are some. They do exist. I mean, you've seen the Westboro Baptist Church. Imagine them with guns. It's basically what you're looking at in this picture. So, yeah, that's the image. And that's the controversy. People are like, oh no, you can't have it. You can't go killing Americans. You can't go killing Christians. Why don't you have your game set somewhere else where you can kill ISIS or like actual threats? And it's like, you don't think people like this exist? You don't think these are a threat? And in no way does this image say that Ubisoft think this is what all religious Americans are like. Not even close does it say that. It just says this one particular cult that we made up in a fantasy game happens to deride their faith, the roots of it, from Christianity, as far as we can tell. That's what it looks like. But, of course, a lot of people are losing their shit, and they're saying, like, oh, you can't attack Christians, why don't you go and attack Islam and all that bullshit? Or are they? Because I heard about all this controversy, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make a video tonight. I'm gonna go to Twitter, and I'm going to put hashtag Far Cry 5, right? And then that should come up with every post that's got hashtag Far Cry 5 in it, which every post talking about this image should have, if you know how to use Twitter. So I did that. And I managed to pull up 5 tweets that I actually felt like responding to. Not once did I see a single tweet, right? Not once. And I browsed page after page after page. I was there for a while. Not once did I see a single tweet with the hashtag Far Cry 5 that was complaining about controversy. And, well, the tweets basically boiled down, they fall into 2 categories, right? There was, this game looks awesome, and I can't believe people are being upset about this. Those are the 2 main themes. Not once did I see a single person saying, oh, you can't attack Christianity, or oh, you can't attack the white man, or oh, this is racist, or oh, Ubisoft, you're French, you hate America, that's why you're doing this. All these reported messages that you keep hearing from people that apparently people are losing their shit and being extremely outraged at. I saw not a single instance of it. Not a single one. You'd think I would have seen at least one going, fucking liberals, something like that. Not a single one. So either Twitter is really good at censoring shit, which they shouldn't be, but if they are, they're within their rights, that's a different story. It got me thinking, is there really any controversy? I saw a lot of YouTube videos of people saying, where's the controversy? What's controversial about this? And I thought they were saying, oh, this image isn't controversial, but no, I think they're saying no one's upset about this. Who's going around saying people are upset about this? Is it fake news? Who knows? So, I have, let me just close that. I have a bunch of tweets here. You know, nothing absolutely salacious, but just stuff I fancied responding to, basically. I'll try and keep this brief. I'm already 7 minutes in and I have a history of rambling, so let's do this. Tim Faskandini had this to say. The overt religious tones will either be incredibly interesting or incredibly divisive, in my opinion. I think they'll be both. I think they are being both. I think it's definitely interesting because people are talking about it, and is it divisive though? Because on the face of it, it seems like it is. But my whole point is it though? Because I'm not really seeing much in the way of division. But I just saw that and I was like, yeah, I think it would be interesting and divisive, not one or the other. That's just my first comment. Tower of Babel said, the most depressing thing about the Far Cry 5 reveal is it invites this toxic, polarizing political discussion. Can't our games just be fun? Number one, I haven't seen any of this toxic, polarizing political discussion, and I was looking for exactly that. Looking for it, couldn't find it. That's not to say it doesn't exist. Just saying I couldn't find it. But I mean, is it toxic though? Polarizing political discussion. There's nothing wrong with polarizing political discussion. Nothing wrong with that. Toxic polarizing political discussion, yeah. But I haven't seen any toxicity, so I guess we'll see. And they finish by saying, can't our games just be fun? Yes, our games can, and frequently are just be fun. Can't our games, for a change, be risky and engaging and make people talk about things that they don't, that you typically don't talk to people about because you get into arguments that can get heated. Like, we don't have many games like that. We've got many games that are just fun. I can't think of a single game that is causing this, like, throwing religion and politics into the mix. Like, this is interesting. So you're saying, can't our games just be fun? I say, yes, they are. They almost always are fun. I'm saying, can't we have a polarizing discussion sparking game? Next tweet. This is from Langis at Handsome Fat Man. Has Ubisoft gone too far with Far Cry 5? No. Poster Bargains says, Far Cry Primal plus Far Cry 4 double pack Xbox One, £20 delivered. Living up to his name, Poster Bargain. That is a hell of a bargain. Couldn't go without mentioning that as a bit of a bargain. This is the one I'm going to spend the most time on, okay? This is the petition that's been going around. And I heard about this petition from many other people before I decided to actually have a look at it. And some people actually think it's real. Some people think, like, and it's difficult to demonstrate that it's not real, but, like, because I've seen people say stuff that are way more stupid and inflammatory than this petition says, and be 100% sincere while they were saying it. So I'm not looking at this and going, no one would be dumb enough to say this shit, because I know they are. But I couldn't find a single shred of people talking about how this image triggers them. It's all just like, someone is saying that these triggered reactions are happening, and I'm not seeing them. And now I think a lot of people think that this petition is a parody. I think it's one step further. I think Ubisoft wrote it. I think it's marketing to build hype for the game, and it's fucking working, right? So this guy, Alex Wallace, I just copied his tweet because he was the one I linked to the thing anyway. So I can click on his tweet and find the actual petition. This is what the petition... Right, buckle up. Now, bear in mind, I don't believe for a second that this is written by an actual angry fan of the game or the series, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. It just seems too well written to be an angry retard. It seems like... It seems to me like press. It just feels like it. I mean, they say far space capital C-R-Y. Like, they spread Far Cry into two words. Now, it might not seem like much because you look on the actual box and it's all capitals as one word. But if you look anywhere official where Far Cry is mentioned and it's not in that font that's on the box, it'll be spread up into two words. And most people don't do that. Most people just go, Far Cry is one word. It stuck out as odd to me that there was a space. Now, that's not obviously proof that it's Ubisoft, but it is on brand. Unusually so. My tinfoil hat is within reach. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm going to try and go through it fairly quickly. In fact, no, I'm just going to try and go through it and respond as I go. Because it is ridiculous. Right, here we go. Enough is enough, Ubisoft. We've sat through your multicultural lectures and your preachy games aimed at degenerates and miscegenators. Definition of miscegenation: a mixture of races, especially marriage, cohabitation, or sexual intercourse between a white person and a member of another race. Okay. We've sat through your multicultural lectures and your preachy games aimed at degenerates and miscegenators. We've tolerated it in the name of gameplay design and innovation. You've tolerated... We sat... Multicultural lectures. Are they just talking about Far Cry? Are they talking about Assassin's Creed now? By multicultural lectures, do they just mean the general message that, like, humans should get along and, like, live together in peace? You've tolerated that and sat through it in the name of gameplay design and innovation. Okay, you know, whatever. This person doesn't like the series, so why they're complaining about this one, it blows my mind, but here we go. We've tolerated it in the name of gameplay design and innovation, but no more! Far Cry 5 is an insult to your fanbase, the Americans who make up the majority of your customers, and it's time you woke up to that fact. Change this or cancel it. And Ubisoft are going, no. It's like, change this or cancel it. Why would they do that? They know more about making money than you do. I guarantee Ubisoft has more money in the bank than you do. They probably know how to make and sell games better than you do. So demanding that they change this or cancel it. There is a third option. You just don't buy the game. Like, that's the... Telling them you're angry will not do a thing. Not buying their game is like... This is like throwing a paper airplane at Ubisoft, and then they open it and it says, change this. They'll just close it and throw it away. If you don't buy their game, you're like, there's a boxing glove on your fist that says, change it, and you're smacking him in the face. That's the difference between a shitty little petition and voting with your wallet. Yeah, sure. If you don't buy this game, not much is going to happen. It's still going to sell well, and you've missed out on probably a good game. But if it sounds like you're going to hate the game anyway, just because you hate people getting along with other races, I guess, then don't buy the game. No one's forcing you to buy the game. It makes no sense to me. It's literally the definition. You know, there's that meme of, like, there's someone riding a bike and then they, like, get a stick and they put it in the front wheel and it crashes and then they, like, blame something else. They're like, stupid stick. It's like, it's your own fucking fault. If you have an issue with this game, don't buy it. Literally, problem solved. But no, they want to control other people's entertainment, right? Now, bear in mind, I don't think this is legit. I still think this is a fairly well-crafted, not propaganda, what's the fucking word? Marketing for Ubisoft, because it's doing the job. By now, everyone's going, oh, it must be fake. But it doesn't matter, because for a few days, a lot of gamers were going, Far Cry 3, it's just on the brain. Far Cry 3, because I keep hearing about this controversy. And there's this petition people have been signing. I've been hearing about this petition because the game's so controversial. Marketing. But I'm responding to these points as though it was legit and it is an angry bigot, right? So, change this or cancel it is what he said. Next. Us gamers have had to endure a lot of crap over the last few years. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You haven't had to endure a lot of... Okay, you've had to endure a lot of crap if you want to keep gaming. This is true. But no one's forcing you to game. And I know it's not as easy as just going, oh, I'll just stop playing games. Like, it's not that simple. But if you're so fed up that you have to use the line, us gamers have had to endure a lot of crap over the last few years... Maybe you're not that into gaming, modern gaming. Maybe you like classic gaming. Go stick to that. Anyway. We've had to endure a lot of crap over the last few years. The targeted harassment by the mainstream press through Gamergate. Okay, how were you affected by that? Because guess what? Gamergate happened to me. And do you know what effect it had on me? Zero effect. Because I just didn't give a shit about it. They were like, some women were like, games are sexist. And some gamers were like, no, they're not. Case closed. Walk away. Me caring about that will have no impact on the world. Don't care about it. So, you choosing the targeted harassment by the mainstream press. Were you who was right? They don't even leave a name, right? They're just called Gamers United. Yes, that sounds like something Ubisoft would create, so there we go. So you say the targeted harassment by the mainstream press through Gamergate. So Gamers United, how did they targetedly? How did they harass you? Well, I don't know. Maybe if this is a real person, maybe someone they follow or like was individually targeted or harassed by the mainstream press through Gamergate. Well, it's had very little impact on anything. The terrible launch and outright lies of highly anticipated video games. Games have been launching badly for years now. It's a part of gaming. You can't expect a world where game developers have deadlines to meet, right? But they also live in a world where they can fix things after release. You can't expect all games to launch flawlessly because they're going to go, get this out the door so we can keep the investors happy, we'll fix it in post. Which is shitty, but that's gaming nowadays. Outright lies of highly anticipated video games. Now, yes, Ubisoft did lie. They actually made that trailer for... I mean, did they technically lie? They didn't outright lie because they didn't say the game will... Like, I'm talking about Watch Dogs. When they showed that first trailer that blew everyone away, I don't think they ever said this is what the finished product will look like. But if you're gonna show someone a gameplay trailer, you're essentially... You read between the lines, you're essentially saying this is the game we're selling because they're showing it to you. If they show you something that's not the game, it is just a lie and false advertising. And to be fair, they did that with Watch Dogs. And Watch Dogs killed my ability for me to watch a game trailer and go, wow. I can't do it anymore. I cannot be excited by a game trailer, because if I see a game trailer that looks really good, I will just go, it won't look like that when it's out. It'll look a lot worse. It'll run a lot worse. What I'm seeing is either a tech demo or playing on an insanely powerful PC. What I'm seeing now is not what I'll get. Every game trailer that's how I respond to it now, and Watch Dogs is the cause. So, yes, they made you think that a game was going to look better than it did. Oh dear. Right, yeah. The terrible launch and outright lies of highly anticipated video games. The outright censorship of art through localization. I'm looking up because I'm trying to see him on his high horse, but he's so fucking high. I can't see him. The outright censorship of art through localization policies. I mean, it's hard to argue because that is so dumb. The outright censorship of art. I mean, first of all, you have to determine that games are art. I personally believe the video games are art. But then you ask yourself, what the fuck is art? You could ask anyone what art is, and you probably get more varied responses than if you asked everyone what God is. Everyone's got their own version of God. Everyone's got their own definition of what art means. If an artist can literally shit in a can and put it in a museum, and that's art, fucking anything is art. So art doesn't really hold much water. But, you know, the outright censorship of art, okay. It's their own art, though. Their own art. That would be like me making a song and then, like, cutting out 30 seconds of it because I didn't like it. Ooh, I've censorship. It's censorship of art. The audacity of these people to edit their own works. Oh, and then hide it under the term localization policies. Oh, man, it's almost as if different places have different laws. Sorry, that comment is just so fucking up its own ass. The outright censorship of art through localization policies. In my anger, I turned my TV on and I heard a crack in the remote. There you go. That trying to make you laugh. I broke my remote. Broken. 100% unusable. Anyway, the outright censorship of art through localization policies. The continued rejection of romantic partners when they find out our hobby. Now, this is kind of what makes me think that it's Ubisoft. Someone said to Ubisoft, all right, okay, we need you to write a petition saying our game is like horrible and anti-American and all this shit. Make it sound like one of the characters in the game wrote it, because that's what it kind of sounds like. One of the right-wing bigoted guys in the fucking game. Sounds like one of them wrote it. But we need to piss off as many people as possible, because that's how these things go viral and you get the free marketing. Well, relatively free. We need to piss everyone off, and we know everyone that's going to be reading this, by and large, is a gamer. So let's just put in, like, the fact, oh yeah, you know, gamers don't get girlfriends and all this business. It's just like, who would be angry at a game company, say that they've had to put up with a lot of shit from game companies, and then try and and then actually say the continued rejection of romantic partners when they find out our hobby, and then try and pass that off as Ubisoft's fault or the game developer's fault. It's a stereotype designed to anger people, and it obviously works. And you wouldn't say that. You just wouldn't say it. But then again, going by the rest of what this petition says, the person's a retard. So maybe they would say that. Who knows? So the next, the appropriation of our culture by so-called gamers on Twitter. No more! Right, so I'll actually read a little bit more, because that made no sense without context. The targeted harassment by the mainstream press through Gamergate, the terrible launch and outright lies of highly anticipated video games, the outright censorship of art through localization policies, the continued rejection of romantic partners when they find out our hobby, the appropriation of our culture by so-called gamers on Twitter, no more! In all caps. And it's like this. If this is a real person, they got a chip on their shoulder about everyone. They're like, oh no, those fake gamers on Twitter. Oh no, they only like Minecraft and Call of Duty. They're not real gamer like me. It's like, no. People just tend to know that if you speak like that, you sound like a douchebag hipster. Everyone knows this. You're like, oh, you're not a real gamer. I've been playing games since 1975. Okay. How does that make you more of a gamer than me? It doesn't. Anyways, so this guy is just rattling off this laundry list of things that he's blaming other people for. It's time to draw a line in the sand. We, the American gamers that make up the majority of your user base, demand you to cancel this game or alter it to be less offensive to your main player base. Okay, so we, the American gamers that make up the majority of your user base, demand you to cancel this game. Or they could not cancel it and make money. Right? Because if they cancel it, they have lost money. Because the game's coming out early next year, right? So it will have been in production for at least 2 or 3 years already, at least. Because video games don't just pop up overnight. People like, even Call of Duty, people are like, oh, it comes out every year. Yes, but they're on a 3-year cycle. It still takes them 3 years to make one. They just have different teams, they rotate. Anyway, so this game's probably been in production for at least 2 years, probably 3. And that ain't cheap. Especially for a company like Ubisoft that's trying as hard as they can to be like EA and just... They're in the big money now. And if they just cancel this game, wow, that's a lot of money they've lost. And more than you might think even, because then investors would just go, well, fuck you. You're just going to bow to the whims of radical bigots? At any point, just cancel the games? I'm going to withdraw my investment, So demanding them to cancel a game is like demanding that I stop playing video games. It's just a futile request. It's not going to happen. And he keeps saying, we, the American gamers that make up the majority of your user base, demand you to cancel this game or alter it to be less offensive to your main player base. I don't think they give a fuck who they offend. In fact, I think they do give a fuck who they offend. They're releasing this game knowing it's going to offend people because guess what? It generates hype, and that's marketing. More people talking about your game, regardless of whether it's good or bad, they're still talking about your game. That's why they say there's no such thing as bad press. In some instances, there are such things as bad press, but generally, if you've got a product and you want people to buy it, the more people that talk about it, the more people are going to buy it. That's how economies work, in a nutshell. I was just breaking it down because I'm the economy expert, of course. So anyway, this guy demands they draw a line in the sand, cancel the game, or alter it to be less offensive to your main player base, right? And now this bit. In these times, you must understand that there might be some violent repercussions if you intend to follow through with your pointless criticism. Now, does that sound like a threat of violence to you? Does that sound like someone that's warning you that if you don't do what they demand, there could be violent repercussions? Doesn't that sound like something that maybe one of the characters in the game would say? Like, you can just imagine them. I mean, that's like how religion works. Control through fear. That's how most control over large groups of people has happened forever, through fear. They're like, hey, hell is a place. You're going to die if you go there unless you come to our little club and we can save you. Control people through fear. This kind of sounds like one of the characters in the game is like, hey, you know, if you don't do what we say, we're going to gun you down or whatever. I mean, the words literally are, in these times, you must understand that there might be some violent repercussions if you intend to follow through with your pointless criticism. So it sounds like a threat, sounds like something a character in the game would make, or it could have just been an offhand remark about the general fact that, yeah, maybe someone else might take some violent action against you. Still came off to me as a threat. So here are the following suggestions to make your game right. Okay, so here's the expert, right? Here's the expert who's made more money making video games than Ubisoft has, clearly, because he's giving them advice. In fact, no, he's not even giving them advice. He's demanding they listen to him. And these are his changes. Number 1, change the villains. It's not so hard, really. Just change the villains to something more realistic. Oh, because white middle America Christian extremists are unrealistic, apparently. Okay. Islam is on the rise in America, as is the violence of inner-city gangs. Oh, he's hit the nail on the head, man. I've always wanted a game where you play that involves inner-city gangs. Why hasn't anyone made one of those before? And Islam is on the rise in America. Yes. So you hate Islam, but you like Christianity. That's your argument. That's why you want to change the villains. Okay. He says... just change the villains to something more realistic. Islam, inner city gangs. Are you scared to do so? It's like, well, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, they've got the balls to literally make the bad guys in this game outrageous. Yeah, they're cultish and extremist, but they're still Christian. White American Christians are the bad guys in this, and that's bold. When, as this guy keeps loving to tell us, the majority of the audience is American. So that's a brave move. I would say braver than just having another game where you shoot brown people. Oh, never seen one of those before. So, And then I think he was meant to quote Voltaire, but he spelled it wrong twice. He spelled it with a B to begin with at the beginning, and then he didn't put the E on the end. So it says, in the words of Voltaire. So if I didn't know any better, I would say that this was dictated to a machine. And he just said, in the words of Voltaire, or Voltaire, and the machine thought he said Voltaire. That's what it seems like. Anyway, in the words of Voltaire, to learn who rules you, simply find out who's not being criticized. So if the bad guys are Islam, guess who they're not criticizing? White Christians. So by your own fucking logic, the white Christians would be the ones ruling. I'm using your own argument against you, and I am a rank amateur at like debates and arguments and shit like this. I'm just coming up with this shit off the top of my head, and I'm poking holes in your stuff, like Matt Dillahunty up in this bitch. And I bet 3 of you know who that is. So, change the villains was demand number 1. Oh, demand number 2, alter the villains. What's the fucking difference? So, change the villains was basically anything that's not white American Christians. That was that. Alter the villains. It says, even if you insist on making the villains American Christians, I think it's a little late in development to change such a core concept of the game. But yeah, we'll go by your usage of the words, oh, they insist on making the villains American Christians. Consider mixing the races a bit to not target white people exclusively. Why? What if this... Okay, I haven't finished yet. There are plenty of nationalists of every stripe and every race and creed. Yes, there are. They usually don't mix, though. It's kind of their thing. That's kind of their thing. That's like asking a white supremacist group, why ain't you got more black people? White supremacists. There are plenty of nationalists of every stripe and race and creed. So throw in some blacks and Mexicans. Why? There's no reason a protectionist, I guess he meant protectionist, there's no way a protectionist nationalist movement would all be one race? He put a question mark at the end of that, and it's not a question, so I'm going to read it like a question. There's no reason a protectionist nationalist movement would be all one race? Well, they might be. And who says this group, this cult, is a protectionist nationalist movement? Who's to say they're not just a white supremacist group? And guess who wouldn't be in a white supremacist group? Anyone that's not white! It's actually painful. It must be a weird existence to live in a world and read something like this and think it is legitimate. It must be weird. But I'm pretending. There's no reason a nationalist movement would be all one race. Why stop being politically correct here? Because it doesn't make a lick of sense, that's why. Okay, so after change the villains, and then the entirely different alter the villains, now we have alter the plot, right? So he says, it's obvious that you continue to insist on using these characters. This guy says, after one promotional image and one trailer get launched within a few days of each other, it's obvious that you continue to insist on using these characters. Well, yes, the game is like probably half finished by now. However, with a few artistic tweaks, you can save the concept entirely. Doesn't need saving, but let's move on. Have the villains simply be misguided patriots forced into making their own nation versus the will of an oppressive overgovernment construed of all the people they turn their wrath against in their immediate surroundings. So the plot of Metal Gear Solid 5 is what he wants. He's playing the wrong game. He wants to play a game where he's a white man going to Africa and Afghanistan and kidnapping Russians and Africans. That sounds like the game he wants, because he wants the villains to be misguided patriots forced into making their own nation versus the will of an oppressive overgovernment construed of all the people they turn their wrath against in their immediate surroundings. Metal Gear Solid 3 to 5 is basically what he just described. So he wants that. And I got nothing against that, because I fucking love Metal Gear Solid. But go play Metal Gear Solid if that's what you want. How about we just have, like, He's like, oh, we can't possibly have the religion being the cause of them being monsters, because there's never been an instance of that happening in real life. It must be the government that made them evil. Yeah, that's it, not religion. How about in this instance it just be religion? How about for once in a game, religion be the bad guy? I mean, you could argue in Assassin's Creed it is. You could argue that, so... So he wants Metal Gear Solid 5, and still going on about the villains being misguided patriots. Their brutal physical and sexual violence towards their oppressors will then be explained as a reaction to harsh government policies and taxation to show that both sides are wrong, while still not pointing out the bad sides of religion, I notice. You want to make politics look bad, you want to make taxation look bad, and you want to make... That light just went off. Did you notice? This video's gone long enough anyway. I can't get up and... Can I throw something at that light? Maybe it's loose. Fuck it. Right, so, yeah. He wants the Metal Gear Solid plot, basically. And he wants the politics to look wrong, the taxation to look wrong, and the guys that are misguided to look wrong. But he doesn't... He just wants the religion taken out of there, basically. I'm going to assume, right, that if this is a real person... and not Ubisoft, I'm going to assume it's a Christian. Just going to assume that. He's like, the politics are wrong, the Muslims are wrong, taxes are wrong. Everything but the one thing I like. Right. Let's not dwell too much on this. So, he's got change the villains, alter the villains, alter the plot, and now change the setting. Right? So, new villains, new plot, new setting, so he wants an entirely new game. Entirely. Again, he wants Metal Gear Solid 5. So, change the setting, but only for certain markets. Why? Why? This is the same person that was complaining that the game developers had the audacity, they had the brass neck and the steel balls to censor their art. But you demand they censor their art, but only for certain markets. This is why I can't take these people seriously. Look, I get that anti-Americanism plays in France, and I'm not telling you to give up on potential profits due to complaints. Wait, hold on. He literally said, I'm not telling you to give up on potential profits due to complaints. And yet if we scroll up, he says, where is it? Where is it? I've lost it. Ah, okay, yeah, here it is. Right. So, at the top, he's going on about all the suffering that he's had to do with their multicultural lectures and their preachy games, right? And he says, Far Cry 5 is an insult to your fan base, the Americans who make up the majority of your customers, and it's time you woke up to that fact. Change this or cancel it, right? So he's demanding that they either censor their art or they don't release it at all, which will seriously affect their profits because of, because of complaints. Because of complaints. That's right. So he's asking them, in fact, no, demanding that they sacrifice their profits because of complaints. And then you go down three paragraphs, and he says, "And I'm not telling you to give up potential profits due to complaints." Lying shit. Wouldn't want to be thought of as one of those hypocrite feminists, right? Okay, yeah, okay. You're right, Far Cry 5 character. You've got to throw in at least one line about feminists in there, because I mean, you're trying to tick off as many people of the internet age as possible. So you've hit Muslims, you've hit politics, you've hit Metal Gear Solid 5, you've hit taxes, you've hit France. You lashed out of France. Say, look, I get anti-Americanism plays in France, and now you're throwing feminists in there as well. You just want to upset everyone. Yeah, okay, yeah, because that doesn't sound like something a normal person would say. And this bit as well, look. He says, but for America, right now, anti-Americanism is out. Show me a time when anti-Americanism was in. And yeah, I guess you could point to the brief period where America had a fight with itself, where they were like, we'll have a civil war for a bit. But in general, America, to my knowledge, has had this wild, well, I wouldn't say wildly overflated confidence, because America's pretty good in a lot of ways, Too many Americans are quick to go, number one, America's number one. Number one at what? The percentage of prison, the percentage of your population in prison? Yeah, you're number one at that. But I don't want to get on hating America, because I like America. I want to go there. It's going to be cool. But this guy's like, but for right now, anti-Americanism is out. It's always been out. In fact, if anything now, with Trump being in power, and when was the last time America was this divided over the president? If anything, right now is one of the most anti-Americanism, is one of the times when anti-Americanism has been most in. Because there's been people saying assassinate the president. It's pretty anti-American. So that line is bullshit on two respects. And then he says, you got to play your market, with regards to releasing the game in America. Change the setting to Canada for America, but leave it as America for the rest of the world, I guess. Because that won't affect the game or their characters' accents or the geographical location or the flora. That won't affect anything. Just slap a label at the beginning of the game on the American version that says Canada, and they've crossed out America. Just do that. Nice and easy, says the expert who knows more about making games and money than Ubisoft do. Change the setting to Canada for America. This way, you don't turn away potential players due to offensiveness. You know what? I think they're actually going to draw more people in because of the so-called offensiveness. Like I say, this is the only instance of this supposed rage I've seen, and I don't think it's real. Look, he says this way you don't turn away potential players due to offensiveness. Just trying to help you make more money. No, you're literally trying to help them make less money because one of your opening demands was that they cancel the game or they make a lot of changes to it which will make it less money. You clearly think that you know more about making games than they do. You think just trying to help you make more money. Trust me, mate. United Gamers, whoever the fuck you are, if you think Ubisoft, one of the biggest publishers in the world right now, needs your fucking help on how to make more money, wow. Wow, have you got an overinflated self-confidence? Fuck. English fail. Shit. Fuck. Oh my god. And now the final paragraph. Follow one of more of these. I guess he meant one or more. His English fails him. Follow one of more of these, and this game will be saved from PC hell and multicultural development. Thing is, though, if you're real, I think you're the only person really thinking that this is going to be PC hell. How could it be PC hell, right? If it was PC hell, it would be going out of its way to not offend anyone. And the game is your point is literally that the game is doing the opposite. It's going out of its way to offend people, and the only reason that upsets you is because it offends you. You had no problems going to Africa, killing black people. You had no problems going to the Rook Islands and killing indigenous tribal people. You had no problems going to Karat and killing Asians. But the second they dare to set a game in America where, oh my god, white Christians are the bad guys, now they've gone too far. Multicultural development. Yeah, guess what? More than one culture exists. Get used to it. We Americans have so few games to call our own. I'm not even going to pretend to laugh at that. I started to, but then I realised it hurts too much because it is so false and so easy to prove wrong, right? I'm just gonna... Right, Google American games, right? Why did it come up with Google? Why did I type Google into Google? Reading this article has made me retarded. Pan-American games? Oh no, now it's on about Olympics or something. Video games, I probably should have specified. Hey, the light came back on. Here we go, look. Right, just a brief list. A very, very brief list. I'm not even going to click on the article. I'm just going to read the little box it comes, like the preview box it gives you on Google, you know, so you don't have to click in. Just a quick preview, right? American games, whatever that means, because this guy says we Americans have so few games to call our own. Whatever that means, so I guess he thinks there aren't enough American games. Oh, you mean apart from Metal Wolf Chaos, Metal Gear Rising, Bad Dudes vs. Dragon Ninja, Madden 13, in fact every Madden game ever made since 91, I think they've been making them. Farming Simulator 2013 and every single one of those. Call of Duty is just this you've probably never heard of it. It's a real small-time franchise. It's made by this little company called Activision. Did you hear of a series of games called Guitar Hero? Oh no, you didn't, because they were American, but they existed, and the guys that produced those, or rather published them, they now publish this little-known war series called Call of Duty. There's also an equally little-known rival war series called Battlefield, but I'm not sure if that's American. But yeah, Call of Duty, definitely American, it's just a little thing. Mortal Kombat, don't know if you heard of Mortal Kombat, it's been a fighting game for pushing 3 decades now, that's American. The number of American games it's quite staggering. I was going to say it probably rivals Japanese, but no, the Japanese pump out so much shit, it's unreal. Just to clarify, they pump out some of the greatest games of all time as well, just to clarify, but you cannot ignore the amount of pure shit. All these shitty little Japanese games no one gives a fuck about. But then again, you can say the same about America. Look at Steam and early access and shit. They sell games that aren't even finished yet. Whatever. So, yeah. Oh, we don't have any... We have so few games to call our own. No, you don't. You're not a victim. You're just, as far as I know, a Ubisoft employee doing a good job of generating hype. And look at it. Look, we have so few games to call our own, and we're tired of losing them to multicultural bullshit. Oh, I wish I could find this person and ask them what that means. We have so few games to call our own, and we're tired of losing them to multicultural bullshit. What does that mean? Does that mean that there are games that were American, whatever that means, made by Americans, set in America? Who knows? Let's just say made by Americans. So let's look at Call of Duty. You're tired of losing them to multicultural bullshit. Well, first we need to ascertain what this multicultural bullshit actually is. And I have no idea. Maybe it's... Oh, maybe he means like, GTA games used to be a white guy to play them. And then you play GTA San Andreas. And then there's a black guy. Oh, the multicultural, we're losing it. It's like, is that what he's on about? What's he on about? Maybe he's on about Far Cry. He's like, oh yeah, you know, Far Cry, you played as a white guy killing all the blacks. And then you played as a white guy killing all the tribes. And it was awesome. And then you played as like some half Asian guy. And that was multicultural bullshit, so I didn't much care for that. But now they're making the white guys the bad guys. I'm so oppressed. Fuck everything about this, other than the fact that it gave me almost an hour's worth of content to rant on about. So yeah, pretty much every update on here is people going, this can't be real, this can't be real. Yeah, it's probably not real. But I will go one step further and say that not only do I not believe it's real, but I believe it's Ubisoft generating hype. I like it at the bottom of the article as well. It says, this petition will be delivered to Ubisoft. Yes, it goes in a circle like that. They send it out, and then it comes back to Ubisoft. I'm going to click on Gamers United and see where that goes. Oh, the page isn't working. Page still isn't working. George is at the door. I'm done. So, peace.